Good evening, everyone. Welcome to the Historic Preservation Commission meeting on this Thursday, July 10th, 2025. Hearings before the Historic Preservation Commission are quasi-judicial in nature. This is a design review process to determine if the proposed project is congruous with the special character of the historic district or landmark. Decisions of the commission are based on the record of these proceedings, the Wilmington Design Standards for Historic Districts and Landmarks, and the Secretary of Interior Standards for Rehabilitation. Evidence submitted to the commission for review becomes part of the record. Appeals of commission decisions are made to the Wilmington Board of Adjustment and then to the Superior Court and are based on the record. Appeals must be filed within 30 days of the date of the commission's action. Evidence is received during the evidentiary hearing portion of an agenda item. Those who want to address the commission are sworn as witnesses to present material and substantial evidence to the commission. The chair recognizes those who want to submit such evidence during the evidentiary hearing. Evidence should be directed to the commission. To ensure that evidence is properly recorded, please come to the podium to address the commission, state your name and address, and speak clearly. Adjust the microphone if necessary, too. Members of the Historic Preservation Commission are appointed by the City Council and serve at its discretion. Our responsibility is to protect and preserve properties within within the city's designated historic districts. We adhere to the Wilmington Design Standards for Historic Districts and Landmarks, as well as applicable North Carolina state law to assess whether exterior changes align with the unique character of the city's historic districts. It is important that we deliberate the merits of each request in a manner that provides a record of the basis of our decisions. Please remember that our deliberation should center on how a project meets the design standards and whether the proposed change is congruous or not congruous. Commissioners, if you have received or been made aware of any outside evidence related to any of our matters, please recuse yourself. And if you would please also turn off your cell phones to silent mode. Thank you for that. And I would like to introduce staff. Gina Essie, the Assistant City Attorney. Brian Chambers, Assistant Planning Director. Ben Riggle, Historic Preservation Planning Manager. Hillary Taylor, City Planner, and Amy Bradshaw, Planning Coordinator. Now, if I could please have commissioners introduce themselves, stage right.
Stephen Sulkey.
Ashley Wilson.
I'm Christopher Yermal.
Joan Keston.
Allison Watts. Beth Rutledge.
And staff will now swear in any witnesses who wish to speak this evening. Over this way, please.
If I can have all applicants, staff, and members of the public, please stand and raise your right hand. If you intend to speak this evening, you'll need to stand up and be sworn in. Do you swear that the testimony you're about to give is the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth? Thank you.
Thank you. First item of business is to approve or make any amendments to the meeting minutes from the June 12th meeting. Anyone need anything there after reading those? No? Would someone like to make a motion then, please?
I move to accept the minutes.
Is there a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Anyone opposed? That passes unanimously. And then items for the evidentiary hearing. We're going to hear first on old business. This is 312 South Front Street with Ben Riggle.
Hello. Case 1 continued from the June meeting is for the proposed replacement of the 3 existing windows and the door on the rear west elevation with 4 sliding doors, as well as the replacement of the first-story windows at 312 South Front Street. As adapted from the Wilmington Historic District Boundary Expansion Report, the 2-story colonial house known as Love House at 312 South Front Street was constructed circa 1910 and is a contributing resource within the Historic District Residential HDR. As such, all facades of the dwelling and parcel are subject to design review. The project property is located on the west side of South Front Street, 3 parcels south of its intersection with Ann Street. As discussed at last month's meeting, the applicant proposes to remove the existing 3 7/1 windows and the rear 10-light door protected by a wood frame storm door on the first floor of the rear elevation and replace them with 4 frame sliding doors painted white. The brick will be infilled and painted to match the house. The proposed sliding doors will feature simulated divided lights to replicate the design of the existing 7/1 windows. The proposed rear door and window replacement project does not appear to be visible from the Riverwalk as demonstrated in this photo. The applicant has updated their application to include the replacement of the 7/1 windows along the first story of the dwelling. The applicant has provided photographs showing the current conditions of the windows to be replaced. The proposed replacement windows will be Marvin Ultimate Wood double-hung windows with simulated divided lights to replicate the current 7/1 configuration of the windows. If approved, staff recommend the following conditions. All glazing shall be clear with no tint. No window openings shall be altered as a result of the proposed window replacement portion of the project. The doors and windows removed as a result of this project shall be retained for possible reuse or as replacements for the dwelling and/or as donation to the legacy architectural salvage. All construction shall comply with the code, and changes to the project shall be reviewed. Staff would like to enter the presentation and report into the record of tonight's proceedings. Are there any questions?
Any questions? If you could just repeat for us again, because it was a little bit of a, was glossed over very briefly in the application, but again, in addition to replacing those windows with the slider doors, what other windows are being proposed to be replaced fully? Was it the first floor and which elevations?
The first story, as far as I know, all the first story 7/1 windows. These 5 are the photos I've received as the condition of the windows.
Okay.
And they're going to be 7/1?
With simulated divided lights.
Any other questions?
With the slider, is it a transom over the slider, or is it part of the slider? It was kind of, it looks like it's part of them.
I think it's a transom, but I would defer to the applicant to confirm for sure.
Okay. Thanks.
Okay, thank you. If the applicant on this item would like to step forward and answer any questions or help with any clarification and state your name and address and speak in the microphone, please.
Yes, sir. Hello, my name is Rob Romero, 1006 North 3rd Street. To answer you, it's one door. Those are doors, no transom.
Okay.
And thank you for your suggestions, because it's obviously improved the design, I think, overall, to match the existing pattern of the windows.
Okay, you know we have to ask,
What's the question?
why are we replacing
Those
all
windows?
the windows on the main floor?
Oh, I think there are a lot of damage to them, apparently, a lot of rot. And so we're going to match the exact design of those windows.
Do we have a quote for repair?
The cost?
Yeah.
I'm sure he does. The contractor, I'm sure he has a price for that. Is that an issue?
I mean, it would be for the homeowner.
Well, that's why they're doing just first floor at this point, because it's expensive.
I don't know, I'd be interested to hear from the commission what y'all think.
But no evidence of the condition, like other than assuming that there's some rot.
Yeah, that's what I've been told.
Okay. No evaluation in this application.
Not that I know of.
Okay.
I mean, they don't appear to be, in the pictures, it looks like there's some mold around, but it doesn't look like they are in horrible, horrible shape.
I'm going based on what the owners requested.
They
of me.
also are functioning, which for downtown is pretty special. Those are lifting up clearly.
Yeah, I think what's note in this photograph right here, I don't think that's mold right there. I believe it's just when you paint these windows and there's a lower sash you raise up, you can paint the top of that lower sash, but it's kind of hard to get back behind it unless the upper sash goes down past the lower sash, and you could paint the back side of that. But I think that's just where paint is dripped down and not fully reached the back of that meeting rail.
They don't look like they're just in terrible, terrible shape. And they also have been protected, haven't they, with over with a storm windows?
And they would like to remove the storm windows and just expose the nice windows, obviously, you know.
Well, I just don't see that they're in that kind of shape to be replaced.
Well, if we have, so this is just the question portion for the applicant to clarify anything. We can move on to that in deliberation in a minute. Any other questions, though, for the applicant, or other clarification needed?
I don't think so. I wasn't prepared for that part of the presentation. The contractor just said, let's suggest
Replace.
these. Yeah,
Okay.
I'm just following his lead.
I think I have one more question with the sliders. With the height of the detail part, it's like 2 foot something.
Right.
What was your kind of thought process on that?
So you're not blocking the view as
Yeah.
you're sitting inside there. That's the
Okay.
whole point, to look out to the river nicely without the pattern going through.
Okay.
And so the existing window opening does not go up to 8'8" or does it?
I think it's close to that.
Is
It's-
it?
It's a little less,
Okay. Comments, questions needed? Good? Okay, thank you.
thank you.
If there's anyone that would like to come forward and speak in favor of this application or against, seeing none, we will now have commissioner deliberation on this item. I'm feeling some sentiment already from some members. Anyone else like to highlight their thoughts on it?
I don't have a problem with the new windows. I think their judgment that the windows are defective and the replacing it with wood windows is sufficient for me.
I'm sorry, say that one more time, Joan?
My feeling is that if the owner feels that the windows are defective and they're replacing them with wood windows, which is what we really require, I don't really have a problem that they're replacing them.
On the entire first floor,
Yeah?
everywhere, okay?
I have a really hard time with this, seeing that, okay, they may not be as effective as what the homeowner wants, but wood windows were made to be repaired over and over and over again. We saw that they're functioning. It seems, even if they're going to be replaced with wood windows in a similar design, when they could just as well repair them and have the original windows, what's the point of replacement when we can keep the original integrity by repair?
Yeah. Well, and plus the replacement, these are going to be simulated. They're not, really
True.
real Muntins in there. They're
Not
gonna
true
be just-
divided light, but simulated divided light.
Yeah. I would like to see some kind of evidence then on these windows that they are that shot. I mean, there's a guy in my own street that repairs these things, so I know people are out there that can fix windows.
I had 26 windows in my house repaired. They're the original windows from 1935.
You look at the Trust Building, it's a 9-story building at the corner of Front and Market, and back in 2018, all repaired, and they were in really bad shape. There are houses and apartments all over Wilmington that have wood windows, original wood windows, 100-plus years old, in very poor condition, and you can replace individual sashes by building them brand new. There are contractors and woodworkers in Wilmington that are skilled in building brand new sashes to fit the existing openings within the jambs. And to Beth's point, the original wood windows are built and exist in a way that they can be repaired infinitely, forever, with relatively little skill involved. And then you go taking these old original wood windows out that are such character-finding features, and you put in new wood windows, whether they're Marvin or any other manufacturer, and if some string breaks or something goes wrong and that manufacturer's out of business for whatever reason, you can't get parts, then you can't do the repair. Whereas most people with decent, reasonable carpentry acumen know how to do these kind of repairs, and that's why they're so valuable, like incredibly valuable, in my opinion.
Well, I don't have really a problem with the sliders, except 8-foot 8-inch tall slider. That's why I'm surprised it's not a transom, because that's a heavy door.
Well, the manufacturer can do everything, and this is up to the owner if they want it. So to that point, Stephen, so I've thought about this as I was reading this application item a couple of days ago, and I thought, well, if we're looking at allowing for removal and replacement on the rear elevation, why wouldn't we do it for the rest? And I feel like that rear elevation facing west, you're installing a different function. You're removing these windows, putting in doors. You want to open it up to a patio that looks out over the river. I feel like that can get a pass, but the rest of the windows themselves seems like obviously off for me. But as far as the door, the Marvin door, they're going to engineer this thing to, I'm sure, to be operable as best they can get it. I think Joan
As I said last time, I had those
you
Marvin
made a
doors,
point.
and I changed them because you could barely open them. And
But
if it's a door
that's-
you're in and out all the time and they're sliders, they're expensive, they're gorgeous.
Oh, no. I worked on 10 years on Bald Head Island, and I hated sliders trying to pull them open after a while. So, I mean, and these are heavy. But, you know, I'm not the guy trying to pull them open, so if they want these,
Yeah, and it's something that the owner and the contractor and the architect, if they want to entertain, it seems like, it seems to me like
I mean, I would have gone with a transom.
installing a transom. If they can
Or
get a transom
lighter
installed
doors.
and then you have a 6'8" door, seems like they can consider that. I mean, that might be something that they want to check with tech support at the manufacturer and just verify with an engineer, someone that deals with these doors at the manufacturer, like how heavy are these things going to be open and how resistant are they going to be to opening and closing efficiently and with relative minimum, ease. But that's, I think we could approve something, I would be approving something like this, and they can go with either, if they decide that they want to do a transom over there to make that door a little bit lighter, that'd be fine to do. I don't think the door opening all the way 8 foot 8 inches tall is necessarily a requirement for me.
It isn't, I'd go, yeah, if they want to do a big door like that, I'm good with it, but, again, if it was me, I'd rather have a transom and then a lighter door, but that's up to them. As far as the windows, yeah, I kind of would like to see really documented evidence that things totally rotten and destroyed, but again, in the pictures, they don't look that way. I think they can be maintained.
It's really hard to destroy these windows to the point where you can't repair them. And then you offer this for this particular property on this item, then you're going to have people lined up trying to replace every window in a home or a building, in the historic district with new construction
And they're
windows.
going to be rotting out in 5 years. in
If
our
that.
climate. Yeah.
These are built with like an old, very old, a tree that started growing probably 400 or 500 years ago, and now you're going to put some wood windows in there that are trees that were engineered to grow fast in a plantation in Georgia, and they invite rot and all kinds of issues with you only put new wood windows in when you absolutely have to.
Okay, so where are we?
That's my piece.
Are we
So-
approving the doors and holding on the windows?
Well, if someone wants to make a motion on this,
Anybody else want?
or if there's other deliberation on the note, like I don't know where other people are necessarily falling on this. I know where Joan stands, and I know where I stand and some others, but if anyone else wants to speak to this, so we can.
Yeah, I think the sliders, seeing it in elevation where it's like scrunched into that 2-foot section, I would almost rather just see like a full pane of glass. I don't know, that just doesn't, it kind of rubs me the wrong way. Like you're trying to like copy the old windows. I don't know, I just didn't like that as much. But maybe I'm on my own on that. And I think the wood windows that are there, we already talked about how like unique they are, and I think they're kind of priceless. So I think I'm kind of with everyone else on that front, like repairing them versus replacing them. Seems like it would be worth comparing the costs at least. And then like the Marvin slider versus I feel like, I know the Fleetwood is such a quality product. That's what you guys presented at first. Like, I feel like I would almost prefer that to this.
What would you consider if they did Marvin French doors? That's what I replaced it with, because that would fit in more with the whole idea of what this house is.
Isn't that a Marvin door that's being specified in this?
Slide, French doors instead, that open and close. That might fit into the area better than sliders. And then you could have panels, which that's what I ended up replacing with, because these were impossible to open and close. So I'm just saying it might fit in even better with the top piece.
So having a fixed transom and then a 6'8" door with
Then,
French door,
yeah.
so with two side lights. Is anyone, like, maybe the applicant could speak to that? Like, is that something that can be considered instead of doing sliders? I don't know if, if you had doors that open to the interior, I mean, I don't know if that's a requirement by the board, but I'm just curious if that's something that might be amenable, or.
They originally wanted those, modern let's open up the wall doors, the sliders, and we said, well, that won't get approved probably, so I tried to guide them this way. We can do opening, I'm sure they'd approve that, and
A hinge door, you mean?
hinge door, yeah,
Yeah.
we can do that if that's an interest.
Or even accordion that will open. I'm just thinking of them because believe me, I've lived with this. then even accordion, there's doors that will open that way, right? And maybe,
Yeah.
but I replaced them with French doors,
Yeah.
and it's a huge difference in functionality.
Yeah.
Marvin, that was a Marvin door?
Marvin, both.
The one you had that your experience was that it was too
And I
heavy?
replaced it with Marvin, yes. Oh, yeah, they were solid wood.
Yeah, and if you don't like that pattern, we can do the full light if preferred. We
Yeah.
thought we were trying to match the original, but we'll
Yeah.
do what's better for you.
I mean, I know this is what I
Pattern.
asked for, so I think I'm on my own on that. It just feels, we talk about like a false sense of history, and it just sort of
Sure.
kind of
And
reminds me of that.
Yeah, I
but-
agree, and that's expensive too when we have to do that.
Yeah, yeah. So I might be on my own with that, but that's fine.
And then if you do the French kind of door, you can even put, it doesn't have to be clear, it could be clear glass, but you could also put wood inside, to kind of do a
Yeah, it's
design
true.
on top that might be an
Yeah.
easier
Yeah.
solution for that.
Sure, we could look into that for sure.
So I don't know if that's going to be a part of a motion, that we insist on a hinged French door that opens, or if it can be a slider, if we give some latitude to the applicant and the owner in this case to consider either option. Consider a transom so the doors aren't so tall, consider everything as it is, or consider that these are French doors that open, that might be a little bit easier to operate.
Okay, and the reasoning for me to tell my client is because the weight of the doors, or the hinging, what is the purpose?
I would say practicality. I mean, just experience with this, that it became impossible to open those doors. You needed two hands and all your force to open one slider. So, and the French doors are more functional, but they might fit in better with the way everything looks.
'Cause
And
we're
it'll
gonna-
open the same way. I mean, the doors can fold all the way back.
True. But
So you can open.
We're gonna need a jamb to support that there, obviously.
Right.
Does coastal windows and doors have like the sliders where you can test them out and,
Oh, yeah.
like try? I feel like maybe they just need to go and
They do. They've
move
got
them
the-
and see if they're okay with it. I don't know.
Yeah, they have significantly strong hinges, you can move with your finger.
Yeah.
And I have to ask, Joan, are you 100% positive that your builder didn't install these too tight with the header too close to the top of the doors? Okay.
It
Because that will
shouldn't be-
pinch, and that will
shouldn't be
make a
that hard.
difference. Okay,
Okay.
just
Anything else?
checking.
Okay, thanks.
Well, do we give them all options on the table here?
Oh, no, you're fine. Yeah.
Like the idea of giving the homeowner the leeway to choose their style for that fenestration. What really, truly, like, what works for them is fine. I don't think that's an issue in terms of the historic district. The greater issue is, in my mind, is approving replacement of those windows, which doesn't seem
Yeah.
necessary.
Beth, would you try to make a stab at making a motion on this then, or if anyone else would like to?
Yeah, I would like someone else to do it.
I'll give it a shot.
Okay,
Okay,
Stephen?
here we go. Let's give this a shot here. I move to approve with conditions the request for replacing the 3 existing windows and door on the rear elevation with 4 sliding doors, either 6'8" or 8'8" high, depending on if there is a 2-foot transom across the entire application, or to replace the doors with French doors on hinges with the same appearance. Does that sound good to you guys? Okay. We are not approving the replacement of the first floor windows until all steps have been taken to repair such windows. This request is consistent with the Wilmington Design Standards for Historic Districts and Landmarks based on the evidence provided, including the application and all attachments, testimony presented during the evidentiary hearing, and the staff report. Conditions of approval 1 through 5.
And I'd like to add that they actually, on these windows that are being removed at the back, the 3 windows, that they actually keep these on site and do not donate them to Legacy Architectural Salvage, but rather keep them in storage in an attic or a basement or something so that they can be reinstalled in the future if so desired. Is there a second?
Second.
All in favor? Aye. Any opposed? Okay, that decision passes unanimously. Yeah, you want to try to distill that and just try that one more time, Stephen, with what the actual motion is, that we're disproving the replacement of all the other windows and all the other elevations, but we are approving replacing the door and the 3 windows in the back with new sliders or French doors that have this pattern but are either.
Okay, all right, take 2. I move to approve with conditions request replacing 3 existing windows and door on the rear elevation with 4 sliding doors or French doors with the pattern in the application that are either 6/8 or 8/8, depending on if there's a transom or not. And we are not approving the replacement of all first floor windows for the property located at 312 South Front Street. Okay.
That good? Okay. And we have
Do I have to read the
a
rest?
second and a vote on that. Is that good, Ms. Gina? Okay.
Okay, all right.
Okay, thank you. Second item of business, 501 South Fifth Avenue, again with Mr. Riggle.
Okay. Okay, we have a draft motion here for that.
I didn't see that.
Okay, I move to continue the request for exterior alterations, chimney removal and replacement, exterior door removal on the rear facade and replacement with window side exit door removal and relocation for the property located at 501 South Fifth Street or Fifth Avenue to the Historic Preservation Commission August 14th meeting.
Is there a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? That motion passes unanimously.
Okay.
New business, Mr. Riggle. 2 through 18 Nunn Street.
Hello. Case 3 is for the proposed replacement of roofing materials from composite slate to architectural shingle for Governor's Landing located at 2 through 18 Nunn Street. Governor's Landing is a series of 2-story townhouses with side gabled roofs and prominent gabled dormers. The townhouses, constructed circa 2000, have composite slate roofs and 8/8 windows. Second-story balconies overlooking the Cape Fear River adorn the west elevation, while first-floor garages highlight the east elevation. The subject buildings are non-contributing resources within the Historic District residential, and revisions to all facades of the building and site are subject to design review in this district. The complex is located on the south side of Nunn Street along the Cape Fear River. The existing composite slate roof has experienced damage and deterioration. Damage to the existing composite slate roof includes raised tiles, caulked and exposed nails on the roof, and its ridgeline. The leaking roofs have resulted in interior water damage. The proposed replacement shingles will be GAF Camelot Designer shingles and Royal Slate. If approved, staff recommends the following conditions. The existing roofing material to be removed shall be properly disposed of and not left on the property. All construction shall comply with the code. Changes to the property will be reviewed. Staff would like to enter the presentation and report into the record of tonight's proceedings. Are there any questions?
Was this reviewed by commission back in 2000 or 1999 for the original construction? I was just curious.
I checked. I couldn't find it. I don't know if it was archived. I really did to look to see if it was approved for Slate or not. I was curious myself, but I was not able to locate it.
Okay. Any other questions?
No.
For Riggle? No? Thank you. If the applicant would like to come forward, please, and answer any questions or provide clarification. Yeah.
Were you sworn in?
Yes.
Okay.
This is my first time, so y'all have to bear with me, okay?
That's all right.
Stephanie Bolton and Bill Bolton doing this.
To the microphone, please.
Mike.
Sorry.
That's fine.
So this is my first time, so I'm glad you guys had the photos. I had some photos also. So on the original application.
Sir, please state your name and address on the record into the microphone. Thank you.
Okay. Brandon Walters, 921 Princess Street, Patriot Roofing.
Okay.
Okay, sorry. So on the application, we had the Camelot, they had the Camelot. We're asking to switch it to the Owens Corning Duration, which is also an architectural shingle. It is an asphalt shingle also that we've used multiple times downtown.
Does
So
it have that slate appearance? Is that an
Yes,
example
yes,
of
sir.
it?
Yes, sir. Well, it's that, which is basically
Oh, okay.
downtown. The reason being is 20 years ago, when they put that roof on, the wind rating on these shingles have improved. They're now 130 mile per hour wind rating. They're the same, the texture for all of the historic downtown. We just did a Terry Bragg's house, I think, on Front Street where we did the hydro stop, and it's the same thing with the duration shingle, a little bit different color, but we went with the same color. So this shingle has a better wind resistant than the Camelot, and it's the same thing. It's an asphalt petroleum product. So this is what we were hoping to, even though on the application it has Camelot, and so I wanted to bring you guys an example.
Okay. So the only visible difference is the fact that has that typical architectural shingle look. It's not going to be that slate look. That's
Correct, and
and it's has more wind resistance.
Yes, sir. Hold on. So basically, this is from the owner, sorry, because they're at the Brooklyn Arts Center, so they couldn't be here, or they would have been. The duration shingle over the synthetic slate shingle, the reason being is it's more durable, better wind rating, and easier to repair than the original slate, because just the technology has gone
Faux slate.
correct.
Yeah.
And then it's gotten much better 20 years from now, and even the one that they had on the application, this wind rating is like 20 miles per hour more, and you guys know where we live. So, I mean, that's
has a big exposure.
We're asking if we could, I should have had this shingle on the application, but I came to the party a little late. But, so now, this is kind of, and if you have any questions about the shingle or about the look, but this is basically, when we have to do a historic architectural slate type shingle, this is what we go with when we're working in the historic district. So,
Questions, comments for the applicant? And I have to ask. So I'm not sure if this roof was put on in 2000 or 2010, but
2004.
2004.
Yes, sir.
Are they not able to pursue warranty claim on the
No,
from the
because
manufacturer?
That's a great question. It's 20 plus years, and there's just so much damage that's there right now that a repair, it's like, when do you stop repairing? A lot of the warranties will have like 50-year manufacturer warranty. That's kind of like the go-to warranty, whatever shingle you choose. And that's on defects, like on the manufacturer defects. This was done by wind, you know.
So that's what the issue is with this roof now that's installed. You feel like it's just not wind resistant. That's what's caused these problems.
If I thought it was a defect, I would have them call the manufacturer. We would work there to try to get, like, we would try, we had one on the beach that has nothing to do with this particular house, but our particular unit, but one on the beach where it was something defective. They got a credit for repair because they didn't have to replace the whole thing. But this wear and tear, I mean, at the time, 20 years ago, this was the best roof to put on, you know, and I mean, it was. And it's supposed to last 40 years, you know, 30 to 40 years, because but this roof is not lasting 30 or 40.
So you don't feel like it was the installation technique, it was just
No, it's not workmanship. We don't think so, because one building is worse than the other two, but the problem is you can't just change out one roof, because then the other roofs are not going to look the same, you know. And then not only that, there's also insurance, where they tried to go insurance, because if it was an insurance claim, then maybe they could have gotten relief, but there was no insurance claim and stuff like that. They were only able to get a repair, not a full replacement.
I assume you're going to not maintain the metal valleys? You're going to have these woven in the valleys, the new
Yes,
shingles?
sir. It'll be woven in the valleys, and we're looking at, even though because it's more than 2 units, it's a 3-unit building, so it's a multi-family unit, so it kind of falls a little bit in the commercial. We are considering doing a fortified roof, even though they won't get the certificate because it's commercial, but we're going to still put the ice and water over the full decking, the waterproofing, using stainless steel coil nails.
Yeah.
So it's a more premium product, even though it's not just a regular roof, if
Yeah.
that makes sense.
We're not-
It's an
we're eight-
upgrade, but the shingle stays the same.
8 miles from the beach, but the exposure on this roof is as significant as a coastal.
Well, yeah, and it's not, in the rules for IBHS for fortified roof, for the grants that they're giving out, it's within like 350 to 400 feet of the water, but because they're on brackish water, we are recommending stainless steel because it's right on the river,
Yeah.
even though it's not salt water.
Okay. Thank you. Question, I'm sorry, I commandeered that a little bit. Any other questions or comments? Okay. Could we see that just one more time? Just,
Oh, yeah.
But I basically got the onyx black, which is the same color. You can always go to charcoal gray if y'all prefer that.
And what's the model of this, what's the name of this style? As a,
Called Owens Corning Duration Architectural Shingle.
so this style is duration, the one you had in the application was
It was a Camelot.
Camelot.
Yeah, it's a Camelot. And it's about a 20-mile rating less than that one. It's like, I think it's rated for 110.
So if we refer to it as duration as opposed to Camelot, then that's clear.
So that's, if I was here prior to submission of the application, I would have switched it over to.
No, we're just asking for purposes of the motion.
Joan's going to make a motion.
Okay, sorry.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Is that it?
Yes. Would anyone else that's in attendance like to speak in favor of the motion? Anyone like to speak against this item? I'm sorry, not the motion, the item. Seeing none, Commissioner deliberation? All set? Okay, if someone would like to make a motion. Oh, Joan.
I move to approve with conditions the request to replace the composite slate roof material with asphalt shingle roof material in the duration design as opposed to the Camelot that was presented in the application for the property located at 218 Nunn Street. This request is consistent with the Wilmington design standards for historic districts and landmarks based on the evidence provided, including the application and all attachments, testimony presented during the evidentiary hearing, and the staff report.
Is there a second?
Second?
Favor? Aye. Any opposed? That passes unanimously. So, good with that. Next, we're moving to item 5-ish, 420 Church Street, I think.
No, 501 South
No, I'm sorry, 501 South 3rd Street.
It's case 4.
Mr. Regal, yes, case 4.
Case 4 is for the proposed installation of a privacy fence on the corner lot at 501 South 3rd Street. As adapted from the Wilmington Historic District Boundary Expansion Report, the house at 501 South 3rd Street is a one-story brick building constructed circa 1950 with a low-pitch hipped roof and an engaged wraparound porch. It was recorded as apartments and was included as a non-contributing resource at the Historic District because of its age at its time it was documented. The house is a non-contributing resource within the Historic District Residential. Revisions to all facades of the building in the site are subject to design review in this district. The house is located at the southeast corner of South 3rd Street and Church Street. The applicant is proposing to construct an approximately 20-foot-long wood privacy fence, 6 feet in height, from the southwest corner of the house to the existing wood picket fence along the southern property line of the parcel, as shown in red in the drawing. The proposed privacy fence will be coated with a solid stain and a natural or cherry type color and will block the view of the backyard area, including the existing storage shed. The existing wood picket fence extending along the southern property line of the parcel is shown in the left photo. The applicant would prefer a horizontal wood fence for the new privacy fence as seen in the photo example to the right to continue with the horizontal nature of the house's design, but would be willing to accept a vertical wood privacy fence if the HPC decides it would be more appropriate for the parcel. If approved, staff recommends the following conditions. The finished side of the fence shall face outward and be no taller than 6 feet in height. The proposed gate shall extend only over this parcel and shall not swing over public right-of-way or any neighboring parcels. No mature trees or historic landscaping shall be removed as a result of this project. All construction shall comply with the code, and changes to the project shall be reviewed. Staff would like to enter the presentation and report into the record of tonight's proceedings. Are there any questions?
Is it 6 feet from which grade are they proposing? The
6 feet from ground level.
Which ground level? The sidewalk or their ground?
Their ground.
Behind the retaining wall?
Yes.
6 feet from there, okay,
Yeah, that is my understanding.
okay. Anyone else, questions?
Sorry, just to clarify, so it's that fence that goes perpendicular to Third, and then there's the fence that goes parallel to Third?
This one will be parallel to Third from the corner of the house in the picture in front of the
Yeah.
storage shed to the wood picket fence is beside the privet.
Yeah.
The privet bush and the tree.
And
You
they
can't
want
see
them
it.
both to be horizontal? Or-
This application is only for the fence in the yard of 505. I think the other
Okay.
fence is in the yard of 503 next door.
The picket
The
belongs to
picket
the
fence
neighbor?
belongs to the
Okay.
next door house, I do believe. I might be confused.
And does it come right up to the retaining wall?
Picket fence.
No, I don't think it comes right up to the retaining wall.
Yeah, it looks like maybe we
I
have
do
some-
believe it stops short. This fence will go to that fence, though.
Yeah, okay.
So,
I think this photo confused me, so that fence that's
I'm-
new is going to stay,
correct, excuse me. This is on this property, it's facing out. I approved this one through the administrative bypass because it replaced an existing fence. I'm sorry, I forgot my projects, I'm mixing them up.
so we're not talking about that fence. we're
This
just
this
talking about
fence is
the-
done, it's installed, it's been COA'd. The new fence is going to be would like to be different, but could be similar because the applicant has mentioned that it would be okay.
So is the new fence, does it start like at the house and go back, or is it?
It
I'm
starts,
confused.
it starts at the corner of the house beside the porch. Let's see, whoops.
Yeah, get that.
Oh,
Yeah, the applicant.
We'll have a minute for that, yeah. If you're going to speak to the plan view that we were just
It's-
looking at a second ago?
It basically starts in the corner where the barbecue grills are.
Yeah.
And runs across the yard in
To the
front of
picket
the
fence.
shed.
Okay.
and then
Not
over-
in
over to
front
that
of the,
fence.
the wall, okay.
Yeah, behind the wall, yeah, it's set behind the wall.
Way back,
Okay.
okay, all right, that's different, okay, I thought y'all were talking
Not
about
up against the
right
street
where
at
the
all,
retaining-
the sidewalk at all?
No,
It's
it
further
is
back.
a ways back, yeah. It is beside, it's at the plane of the house.
Okay.
It's a little confusing.
Anything else?
Okay, yeah, so I think we're all set, thank you.
Yeah.
If the applicant would please come forward and provide some clarification or answer questions. If you could please state your name and address.
I'm Michelle Morrison, 501 South Third Street.
Okay.
That was a little more confusing than it is. It's actually very simple. The
Ma'am,
fence-
if you could stand just a little bit closer to the mics, thank
Sorry.
you.
The fence that's there right now is in my property. Was a brand-new fence when we bought the house. So basically, that's on the side, the house is here facing the house. This is just a privacy fence to block off that side yard.
Can we look at that slide again, please, so we can narrate and look at that plan view again, the site plan? Yeah. Okay, so you've got Third Street going north-south on the left there, and then you're up against Church
Right.
Street.
Correct. And I initially wanted it to come off of where you see that, the yellow line, that is the porch. So I initially wanted to come from the porch over to that picket fence. It just gives a little more room, but it's still in line with the house. And that way we could put a gate probably on the porch there.
So your entire fence scope is the red line.
Yeah, or the yellow line would be preferable.
Okay.
Why
So
did, wait a minute, why did
which
it,
one is, are we
I didn't
voting on?
write the red line. The yellow line is my line.
oh, well, why do we have a red line? That's what I'm asking.
I don't know.
I put the red line on because the proposed fence location arrow is pointing to that.
Oh, it was? Okay, I'm sorry. You know
So,
what?
so
Yeah,
you would be happier with the
Sorry.
yellow line, not the red line?
I would prefer the yellow line. I
Okay.
guess in hindsight, I probably would prefer the yellow line, if possible.
And you want to do that at 6 feet?
Well,
In
if
height.
that's the maximum that you allow.
All right.
And the picket fence, the shorter one is where in relation?
it's-
Is it on the
it's-
back?
6 foot's the maximum on a side yard or a rear yard.
Okay, so 6 is fine.
Well,
The picket fence
4
is,
is typical on the front.
the picket fence is where that arrow is.
That's 3 feet?
Yes, I believe so. 4 feet?
4 feet.
Yeah.
And the reason I picked horizontal was just because it was in the style of the house.
And the purpose of this fence is simply to block the view of the
Privacy.
shed?
No, privacy
Oh.
for like our grills and, you know, being able to be out there, and for security also.
Well, you have no privacy on Third Street?
We have
Imagine that.
absolutely
Huh.
none.
Yeah,
It's like a living in a fishbowl.
Yeah,
yeah, okay.
okay.
Yeah.
So, yeah, again, just to clarify that the design standards say that we do a 4 foot in the front and a 6 foot on the side and rear. And this is a unique case because you're on a corner lot.
I thought it seemed like it was on the side of the house also, so that was the reason I
Well, yeah.
asked for 6.
That's why we're looking at it. Okay. Any other questions or comments? No?
Thank you.
Would you be opposed to a 4-foot fence for privacy
Well,
reasons?
that doesn't really do much for
Doesn't do
privacy
much?
because you can see over, I mean, it would be about here.
It is covering a side yard, not the front of the
Yeah,
house.
yeah.
Okay.
Okay, thank you.
I did want to note, I'm sorry. Well, are there any folks here that want to speak in favor of this item? Or against? Seeing none, Commissioner deliberation. I did want to point out that in the design standard 2.39, design fences and walls to be compatible with the area of the associated building. So in that regard, and because of the style of the house, this is a very wide horizontally slung house, and I don't have any issues with the horizontal nature of the board installation.
Because it's non-contributing, you
Yeah.
know, and I think that's fine, but I think I would prefer that it be the red line instead of the yellow line.
I think the issue, I hear that, but just so you know, she wants it at the front, because if you look at the other photographs of the property, if it's up toward the front, then that allows them to get from their front porch over
into
to
the
that back
side.
area.
Gate.
Without a gate, and
Yeah.
if it was there
I got you.
at
Okay.
the house itself.
Functionality.
I'm not as comfortable with the horizontal, because I've not seen anything, and correct me if I'm wrong, that downtown at all that's been horizontal. That looks so modern to me.
So does the house.
We've approved a couple horizontals in the past, we have.
Yeah, there's
you
some
know,
on South
There was one that
Fourth.
already had horizontal, and they kind of added to it, but I mean, it's not, yeah, for the most part, it's vertical, but occasionally there's a horizontal out there.
And I think just simply that this is more
Well,
of a mid-century.
Yeah, if this house was like 1890, I wouldn't be too happy
The
with
middle of the
horizontal,
century.
but, you know,
1950.
1950s.
I'm sorry, Stephen.
No, I'm just saying, you know, the age of the house, 1950s,
Yeah.
yeah, I could see horizontal on this thing. Or, yeah.
And if you look at that inspiration photograph, I mean, that's a nice look. I don't know if we can pull that up. I just was
It's like
looking
a
at it
Bob Hope movie.
out in Palm Springs.
Yeah.
Anyone else?
I don't mind the horizontality of the fence. I think it goes with the house, and I think it's nice. And I think it's set back from the sidewalk far enough that it doesn't feel, if it were 6 feet, it wouldn't feel as kind of imposing as if
Yeah.
it were right on the sidewalk.
I concur
And
with
I think the
that.
privacy, I mean, Third is busy, so.
Third's Third.
I understand that.
Yeah.
So,
Ally, would you like to make a motion?
Sure. I
Wait. Should we also approve, wait, where are we putting the fence? At the corner of the
At
porch?
the yellow line, which is where she intended, it sounds like the
Okay,
red was
and
a mistake.
do we need to approve like a gate or something to go with that off the porch, or are we just
No,
approving the
because
fence?
the yellow line doesn't need one.
The yellow line's farther up. The yellow line's farther to the west.
How
That's
about
the one that's
stairs?
in front of the porch, in line with the porch, the front of the porch.
Are there stairs off the porch, or can that be approved by
Agreed.
bypass if she builds something?
There are no stairs there.
No, it's flat.
Oh, I see it now, okay.
Plans.
Never mind, okay.
Okay. Are we ready?
Sorry, go for it.
Move to approve with conditions the request to install a privacy fence on a corner lot for the property located at 501 South 3rd Street. This request is consistent with the Wilmington design standards for historic districts and landmarks based on the evidence provided, including the application and all attachments, testimony presented during the evidentiary hearing, and the staff report.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? That passes unanimously. Okay, now Agenda 5, 420 Church Street with Hillary Taylor.
Good evening, Commissioners. Item number 5 is a request for fence installation on a corner lot at 420 Church Street. The Hewlett House, which is located on 420 Church Street, was constructed circa 1875 and is a contributing resource located within Historic District Residential. As such, revisions to all facades of the building and the site are subject to design review. The subject property is located on the southwest corner of the intersection of South Fifth Avenue and Church Street. Oops. And this is the site plan provided by the applicant. It displays the locations of the existing and proposed fences. The applicant has replaced in-kind a 6-foot wood privacy fence along the rear or south facade on the property line and has made an after-the-fact request for a fence replacement. The applicant also proposes to install 2 new 42-inch picket fences on the east and west elevations of the property as displayed on this site plan. This photo shows the 6-foot wood privacy fence that has already been replaced along the rear or south facade on the property line. The proposed 42-inch picket fence, which is similar to the one on page 61 of the Historic District Design Standards, will be extended from the rear or south facade to the existing 6-foot privacy fence, approximately 10 feet in distance from the side or the east elevation. The applicant also proposes to install a 42-inch white picket fence with a gate on the west side elevation of the property. At the end of the driveway on the photo here, running in front of the line of trees, making a right angle at the lawn and connecting to the corner of the building. If approved, staff recommend the following conditions. The existing privacy fence shall remain natural wood fencing 6 feet in height. The proposed picket fence shall be white wood fencing 42 inches in height. The finished side of the fences shall face towards the public right-of-way. The proposed gates shall not overswing any public right-of-way or neighboring properties, and no mature trees or historic landscaping shall be removed as a result of the project. All construction shall comply with regulations and requirements, and changes shall be reviewed. Staff would like to enter the presentation and report into the record of tonight's proceedings. This concludes my presentation, and we're happy to answer any questions you may have.
Questions? No? Thank you.
Thank you.
If the applicant would come forward if they're in attendance, thank you. State your name and address, and you adjust the microphone. There you go, as necessary. Thank you.
My name's Sue Lawfer Boone, and I did the reconstruction for 420 Church Street. And we're requesting a fence where you can see right now, it had a picket fence at one point. It was just, it fell down. I mean, pretty much the whole house did. The one thing that when I made the application, I didn't have the house sold at the time, and I have the house sold now. It sold immediately. Instead of being a white fence, a white picket fence, they would like to have a natural color fence to match the existing fence on this side, and on the other side, where the division is, the neighbors have a natural colored fence. And the fence is more for a little bit of privacy. It will hide part of the utilities on the back side of the fence. And my new buyers are thinking about getting a dog. So I don't know what else to say.
So the only reason this is after the fact is because you just replaced a dilapidated fence that was there, is that right?
The fence that you see right there in the picture, the 6-foot fence,
Yeah.
that fence had gone all the way to the back and straight up to the street. We didn't bring it all the way to the street because we wanted some visibility to the yards next door. I feel that openness is more important. And then because the next door neighbor is so tight there, I felt replacing that fence was to his advantage more so than our advantage, because his bedroom window, his bathroom window all look out to that side. So I went ahead and did that. When Monica Davis was here, she had told me to go ahead and get that up and do an after-the-fact thing. And then with the picket fence, it's straightforward. A little bit of privacy, hide the utilities a little bit. And then on the other side, it just basically, just a little privacy type of thing. And just to keep for them and their dog.
So in one of the conditions here, it says the proposed picket fences shall be white wood fencing 4 feet in height, but am I right?
That's what I asked
this is the
for
one you're-
originally, but I just met with them today because we're closing tomorrow. And she knew the meeting was tonight, so she comes and she's like, Sue, please. You know, I got one of those today. Can we please make it neutral, a natural color?
Okay. But weren't you proposing it for it to be 42 inches, not 48 inches? Is that right?
The fence I picked out is a 42-inch picket fence.
Okay. So not 48, not 4 feet, but 42 inches, right?
Correct.
Okay.
Yeah. It doesn't need to be that big.
Any other?
Any other questions?
Congratulations on the project. It seems like it was yesterday where you could look all the way through it.
It was a handful, I'll tell you.
Yeah, yeah, it was.
Yeah. That's quite a project.
My guys did a phenomenal job. We did everything you asked. We salvaged almost everything. We restored the bathtub. We found the original front door and had it restored by a gentleman in Burgaw. We found we had the original back door, even the handle. Tomorrow at closing, I'm handing them a church key, which is the key to the front door, the original key.
Wow.
We restored one of the fireplaces, mantles with the original mirror in it. We found the flue to what was once a stove in the house, and I got it all cleaned up, and it hangs next to the fireplace. It was fun to,
Interesting.
playing in the sand underneath the house for a while.
Yeah.
And if you haven't been to the house, I would love for all of you to see it.
Yeah, neat. Built 1875.
It was from 1875. I gave it another 150
Yeah,
years.
yeah, you sure? Anything else?
No.
Thank you.
Thank you.
If there are anyone in attendance who'd like to speak in favor or against this agenda item, seeing none, we'll move to commissioner deliberation. I don't see any issues. Anyone see any issues? No?
I think it's kind of modest. I'd be looking for more like a board-on-board 4-foot or something for security and screening. So this is kind of a minor little fence, really, 42-inch.
Yeah. No, it seems good.
All right. I move to approve with conditions the request for the after-effect approval for an installed privacy fence and to install new sections of picket fence in the corner lot for the property located at 420 Church Street. This request is consistent with the Wilmington design standards for historic districts and landmarks based on the evidence provided, including the application and all attachments, testimony presented during the evidentiary hearing, and the staff report.
You need to add that it doesn't have to be the white wood fence.
And it doesn't have to be white.
And 42 inches in
Right.
height is good.
Just in height.
Okay.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? That passes unanimously. Thank you.
On to the next project, wherever it is.
Agenda item 6, 304 South 2nd Street, Mr. Riggle.
Case 6 is for the proposed replacement of the rear covered stoop with a new screen porch, installation of a new brick facing on the existing concrete front steps, construction of a new brick masonry wall with an iron fence along the front of the property, and extension of the existing brick driveway runners at 304 South 2nd Street. As adapted from the Wilmington Historic District Boundary Expansion Report, the Durham House, located at 304 South 2nd Street, was constructed circa 1910. The house is a two-story colonial revival house with a hipped roof. The gable projections feature decorative shingles and lunette windows. The wraparound porch with a pediment is supported by Doric columns. The windows are 1/1 and the doors have transoms. The subject house is a contributing resource to the Historic District Residential, and revisions to all facades of the building and the site are subject to design review in this district. The house is located on the west side of 2nd Street, one parcel south of its intersection with Ann Street. The applicant proposes to remove the existing rear covered stoop and replace it with a new screen deck and deck extending 27 feet 8 inches along the rear west elevation and projecting approximately 8 feet from the rear wall. The proposed screen porch will have an asphalt shingle roof matching the existing house. Beaded plywood matching the existing front porch will be used for the ceilings of the new rear porch. Screening system will be used to enclose the porch. The porch railings will feature 2x4 bottom rails, 2x6 top rails, and 2x2 square balusters. The porch will rest on brick piers with lattice matching the existing dwelling. This is the view from where the proposed porch will be located, so you can see what's behind. The existing west elevation of the house is shown in the left drawing, while the proposed new porch is shown in the drawing to the right. The new porch will join with an existing side porch, and wood steps will be used to access the porch will be constructed on the southwest corner of the proposed porch. Examples of the screen ease material can be seen on the left, while the design and material drawing is on the right. The applicant proposes to resurface the existing concrete steps with brick, matching the existing brick piers of the house foundation. The proposed brick resurfacing will provide a safer walking surface and will address a large step down from the porch to the first concrete step that creates an unsafe walking condition. The applicant also proposes to construct a new low brick wall topped with an iron fence reaching a total height of 4 feet above the sidewalk. The brick wall matching the brick will match the existing brick piers and proposed brick covering of the front steps. The black iron railing and newel posts will be 30 inches in height. Entrance will be provided by a black iron gate 4 feet in height swinging inward that will be installed in the front of the main entry to the house. The proposed brick and iron fence is similar to a structure, the same sort of structure as seen in the left photo, the neighboring property. Finally, the applicant proposes to extend the existing brick driver runners approximately 20 feet toward the rear of the property with bricks matching the existing runners. If approved, staff recommends the following conditions. All materials removed from the house as a result of this project shall be disposed of properly and not left on the property. The finished side of the fence and brick wall shall face outward from the property. The proposed gate shall swing inward and will not extend over public right-of-way or any neighboring properties. The proposed brick to extend the driveway runners shall be manufactured specifically for driveways. No mature trees or historic landscaping shall be removed as a result of the proposed project. All construction shall comply with the code. Changes in the project will be reviewed, and staff would like to enter this presentation and report into the record of tonight's proceedings. Are there any questions?
Questions?
Yeah, I have a couple.
Yeah.
The ribbon driveway with the brick, they actually have city block in that driveway. Are they going to get more of that? That is not easy to come by. It's the Southern Clay and it's the Augusta block.
They were going to get brick made for driveways. I'm not sure exactly what brand. I don't know if they can find this or not. I would have to let the applicant speak to.
Yeah, because you were saying like extend it with the current. Well, that might not be easy.
I did not realize they were a special brick.
Yeah, they're road brick. I was even thinking maybe they could actually, if the city's interested, sell this brick to the city street and then get other brick. But matching it's going to be difficult.
I'm still new to the city, so I'm still learning. So that's news to me.
Yeah, sell or donate. I don't know if the city's going to be buying brick, but anyways, good thought. It'd be nice, yeah, if they're not going to be reusing this. Are you suggesting that maybe they would reuse this, or?
They're going to keep this in place and just put 20 more feet behind it, running
I see.
backward, yeah.
What I'm saying, almost inevitably, the 20 more feet is not going to match.
It won't match, yeah, understood.
Yeah, it's going to be a new driveway brick is what I
Okay.
assumed.
But it's far enough back, you're not
Well,
going to see.
It's set well back
Yeah.
into the property.
Okay.
Another question, the front stoop, I looked at this.
It's a rear stoop.
Or the front steps.
Front steps, yeah, okay.
I mean, it's obviously the brick in that, it's Portland cement, it is not original to the age of that house, so it was added later. And also the brick is that rib style from, I don't know what that would be in the 1950s, 60s, somewhere's up there. Okay, I understand they're gonna basically adhere brick to the concrete, and I looked at the dimensions, I think they can get away with it, but what are they gonna do with the brick? Are they gonna tear down, take off the concrete caps on the sidewalls and completely rebuild the brick, or are they gonna try to cover that? I'm a little confused.
The way I understand it, they're just going to be brick facing the concrete steps themselves.
And they're gonna leave the side, because in the picture, it looks like all brick, 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 and
The
if they
rendering,
do that on the side, they still have the concrete caps and the old brick that's now painted blue.
As far as I know, the brick that's painted blue and the concrete caps are staying. But I would have to let the applicant speak to more specifics on that.
Okay.
Could we look at the rendering again? There it is. Thank you.
Oh, but I could be wrong. They might be planning on taking the caps off. Like I said, I'll defer to the applicant on the
Okay,
very
if
specifics.
the
on that.
applicant's here, that'd be great.
I think they are. Yeah, they are.
Okay.
Yeah.
Questions, comments, anything? Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
If the applicant is in attendance, they'll just come forward to answer questions or provide some
There she is.
clarification.
Got questions, help.
Hi, I'm Sunny Stevie, 304 South 2nd Street.
Okay. So what's the deal here? Can you get because that is actually street brick you have in your driveway. Can you get more of that, or are you just going to put a different brick?
So we're open to anything. I would like to keep the brick that's there because it is street brick, and just add brick from where that ends to the back fence. It's far enough away. It's where we pull our trash cans back. It's really just meant so that we can park another car there when we need to. And right now, it's just dirt. So I would like to clean up the brick that's there and leave it in place. I'm not concerned personally about it matching perfectly because I know that would be difficult to do. If we are required to have perfectly matching brick, then I would like to leave the brick.
It was just
in
a
place.
statement that it was going to match. I'm like, good
Yeah,
luck
it
with
won't
that.
match.
Okay. Now, okay, on the front steps, I'm a little confused because as you see the picture there, it's brick, 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 all looks
Yeah.
brand new, but yet now, so what's happening on the side walls of the steps? Are they remaining?
So the sidewalls are remaining, the caps are remaining.
Okay.
This was just a computer rendering.
Right, okay.
We're just trying to veneer the steps.
Okay.
To have a more safe
Are you
rise.
going to power wash the blue paint or?
Yeah, so we're gonna also be painting the house.
Okay.
So the wing walls there will likely be cleaned up and painted to
Okay.
match the new paint colors, but they will remain in place.
And when you say veneer the steps, what material are you using for that?
Brick.
Yeah, but thin brick or full dimension modular brick?
Brick veneers, so not full bricks. They would be thinner.
Like
Thin.
the inch brick or whatever?
And that's the only way. So we're trying to address the safety issue.
Okay.
So we would either need to remove them completely and rebuild, or the other option is to use varying veneers to get a more even rise.
Okay. And the iron fence in the picture, that is the design with the circle?
No, there is in our paperwork that we submitted, there's a picture of the actual design.
Okay.
I don't remember seeing that. Is that in?
It's
was that in
kind of floating in one screen on the paperwork. If you scroll through to the very bottom of all of the,
All right, we got a lot of paperwork here. Let's
yeah,
see.
it was towards the bottom in the plans.
Where is this? Anybody find it?
No, I can't.
Ben, do you have this anywheres?
Oh, there is, that's it. It's kind of ornate.
Oh, got it. Got it.
Did you find it?
Yes.
Okay, great.
Which page?
Oh, it's on, of the packet, it's page 22. It shows a newel post and, okay.
Okay.
Any other questions for the applicant or any clarification you can provide? You're all set? Okay. Anything
I'm
else?
happy to answer any questions.
We all good? Okay, thank you.
Okay.
If there's anyone in attendance who'd like to speak in favor or against, seeing none, we'll go to Commissioner deliberation on this.
I have no problem.
Okay? A no problem, a no problem, a no problem, a no problem, a no problem. Someone like to make a motion?
I move to approve with conditions the request to replace the rear stoop with a porch and deck, install a front facade brick masonry wall with iron fence, and extend the existing brick driveway for the property located at 304 South 2nd Street. This request is consistent with Wilmington design standards for historic districts and landmarks based on the evidence provided, including the application and all attachments, testimony presented during the evidentiary hearing, and the staff report.
Second?
I'm sorry, Ally, second. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? That passes unanimously. Thank you. And then last agenda item, number
Landmark.
7, 201 South Water Street.
Case 7 is an application to add the former Wilmington Iron Works machine shop building located at 201 South Water Street to the Wilmington study list in anticipation of pursuing a local landmark designation for the building. As adapted from the Wilmington Historic District Boundary Expansion Report, the Wilmington Iron Works machine shop building at the southeast corner of the intersection of South Water Street and Orange Street has a gable front configuration with a segmental arch window heads and brick pilasters dividing bays on the long side. A large metal sliding door is located on the southwest corner of the west elevation. Large wood beams support the low-pitched gable roof with portions of the machinery retained among the beams. The building is a contributing resource to the Wilmington Historic District and the Central Business District Historic District overlay. Although the building lacks a high architectural style, the history of the building, as noted by the applicant, quote, tells an important story in the city's economic history, end quote. The property began its known economic usage as a repository for naval stores, an important industry for Wilmington during the mid-19th century. On July 25, 1831, the property transferred to Peter B. Ruffin, a merchant and financier from Hillsborough, North Carolina, and son of North Carolina Supreme Court Chief Justice Thomas Ruffin. A newspaper advertisement from August 24, 1864 references a, quote, large shed, unquote, for rent at the subject building's location, with another similar advertisement occurring in 1879. In 1887, D.L. Gore, a Civil War veteran and prominent Wilmington businessman, purchased the property. Since at least 1884, per the Sanborn maps, and as seen in the 1889 Sanborn map on the left, the frame warehouse is labeled Tar, Turpentine, and Naval Stores associated with the Robinson King Industrial Complex. In 1908, Gore signed a lease agreement with the Wilmington Iron Works. By 1950, the frame building had become a machine shop associated with the Wilmington Iron Works, as seen in the Sanborn map on the right. There are conflicting dates of construction for the building, with a plaque provided by the Historic Wilmington Foundation having a construction date of circa 1869, while the National Register nomination records a construction date of 1926. The Sanborn maps show that sometime between 1915 and 1951, the frame warehouse building was replaced by a brick warehouse building on the same footprint as seen on the Sanborn map on the left. However, a construction date of 1926 would be an interesting time for the building to have been constructed because that was a year after D.L. Gore passed away in 1925, and during a period that the Wilmington Iron Works was leasing the building, presumably from Gore's estate, until they purchased the property in 1929. If the study list application is successful, staff recommends additional research to better pinpoint the exact construction date and history of the property during this active period of the property's history. The Wilmington Iron Works utilized the building until the company went out of business in 2000. During its time operating, Wilmington Iron Works helped produce numerous metal resources, including doors, fences, gears, engines, boilers, saws, and parts for large locomotives and steamboats. The company participated in the manufacturing efforts for both World War I and World War II. As the railroad industry grew in Wilmington, it became a major consumer of the Wilmington Iron Works products until its decline in the late 20th century. An undated photograph, likely from the mid-20th century, and one from circa 1970, showed the existing building retains a good level of integrity from the early to mid-20th century, when the Wilmington Iron Works was using it as a machine shop. Oops. After the bankruptcy of Wilmington Iron Works in 2000, the property was sold, and by 2017, the building had been adaptively reused into the Museum of the Bazaar to cater to the curious members of the community and tourists alike. The building's facade incorporates the slope of the terrain of Orange Street, rising as it rises towards Front Street, and can be seen in these photos. The west elevation features a sliding corrugated metal cargo door from the Wilmington Iron Works period of the building's history, while the south elevation is used for employees only. The north elevation features a modern entry for the Museum of the Bazaar, but it also retains an excellent industrial steel door stenciled Wilmington Iron Works Machine Shop. Because of the sloped nature of the facade, the windows on the western portion of the building are arched, while the windows on the eastern portion are rectangular. The arched versus rectangular windows can be seen in the photo of a rectangular window on the east elevation and the arched window on the west elevation beside the corrugated metal sliding door. Although the warehouse building likely was reconstructed in the early 20th century, based on the heavy timber framing still visible in the building today, there is a strong probability that a lot of the framing structure from the original warehouse was salvaged and reused in the construction of the current brick warehouse former machine shop. In addition to the heavy timber framing throughout the building, iron support columns with branching angle supports highlight the interior and were likely manufactured by the Wilmington Iron Works specifically for this building, but additional research would be needed to confirm that. Although not the most glamorous of buildings, the utilitarian nature of the former Wilmington Iron Works machine shop building does not diminish its historical importance to the city because of its industrial and commercial uses. Started as a facility for naval stores, one of the most important early industries in Wilmington, before being adaptively reused for manufacturing as the city shifted to a more production-centered economy in the 20th century, and is also the last remaining resource associated with the Wilmington Iron Works, before once again being adapted for use in the tourist industry to cater to Wilmington's development during the early 20th century as a premier tourist destination. If approved, staff recommends the following conditions. Listing in the study list does not mean the property is being designated as a local historic landmark, and a formal landmark application shall be completed before the property can be designated as an official local historic landmark. Staff would like to enter the presentation and report into the record of tonight's proceedings. Are there any questions?
Who's requesting this, the owner?
The owner is requesting it. He has an applicant helping him as well. An authorized agent.
Ben, does this affect in the future, like, let's say in 5, 10 years, they get this and they come to us and want to take off that metal door? Is that still permissible, or is this kind of lock down the building as is?
That would be that commission's decision to make, because that would be a major work.
Possible. It wouldn't be like freezing this in time, or what?
It would depend on the interpretation of future commissions.
Okay, gotcha. Okay.
Does landmark status change the ability to tear something down? Like when we do a delay of 365 days, does it make it landmark mean you cannot tear it down?
I do believe that's a state level landmark. This would only be a local landmark. So as far as I'm aware, the year demolition delay thing would still be in effect for
So,
it.
but it's so, they can still tear it down. Landmark doesn't prohibit that.
I do believe so, the way I understand it.
Isn't there a code, because we took the landmark status away from the building, because otherwise, if we didn't, they couldn't build to the 50 feet, but only to 35. So is that the state landmark designation, or?
I am not sure, I don't want to, I don't know enough.
Okay.
I don't know.
All
if
right.
Gina knew, probably not, so no, I'm not 100% sure.
I think we're mixing up code provisions here. There's a provision of the code where you can't tear it down. There's a height limit to discourage people from tearing down buildings. The landmark status would add an extra layer of protection to this structure or any structure that's landmark status where it would have to come back to get the demo permit. Right now, if it's just, it would just be a 365-day stay. If they applied for a demo permit, they would just have to wait a year and then they can do it. With the landmark status, they would have to get approved for that removal.
Right.
Okay,
Matt, it doesn't fall under that. I was just curious.
well,
And if we approve this for the study, who does the study? Who is that? Is that a private consultant?
Yes, correct. Yeah, the person who put together the study list application.
Was the high school state or was it local as well?
It's local as well. It is still being considered by the Board of Education. So they just did their big meeting, not to get off court, I'm not sure, but they did their big meeting for public use, and it hopefully looks like preservation will be cost-effective in their
Right.
proposal.
It's like
theoretically, fingers crossed.
less than half of new construction, and they
Yeah.
couldn't do new construction if they wanted to because they don't have the acreage.
New construction
No, right.
on that.
That's right. Other questions for Ben Riggle? Comments? Okay, thank you. If the applicant would please come forward and state your name and address.
Good evening, Commission. Clayton Hamersky, 153 Yorktown Drive in Wilmington. I'm a friend of the owner and the applicant here for the machine shop. Appreciate, Ben, your telling here of the story. I think you did a really good job. I think all I would further hit on is just the history, to me, is really interesting and unique. It sort of tells this story about the commercial uses for a big brick shed in a port city like Wilmington, starting with the naval stores industry and everything going on during Reconstruction, the utility of having a building right next to a major port. And then we see the utility, the sort of the highest and best used shift to metal manufacturing, and we start to see all kinds of different uses. I'll just say briefly that here in town, you can see items made by the machine shop, and it's really cool. I was on 4th and Church the other day, and there's a storm grate, and on it stamped, it says, made by the Wilmington Iron Works. On the City Club, which is the Derazette house on the side, as you go into the little underbelly, there's a metal door that says Wilmington Iron Works on it. And so it's just kind of a cool.
I'm sorry, you said that door you found is on the side of the De Rosette house, on the alley there?
Yeah.
There's a door there with an embossed or a stamp that says
Yeah,
Wilmington.
none of the alley, as you're walking into the City Club on the bottom level.
yeah.
the
On Dock
ground.
Street.
Yeah, on Dock.
And you could see it on that.
Yeah. So yeah, and so they made all kinds of things. There's blueprints at ECU, who has all of their records now, and they made everything from big steam boilers with the Atlantic Coastline Railroad to farm equipment and fertilizer containers, and so they were ubiquitous throughout the manufacturing world. But and then that business lasted, and then of course now. Very fittingly, it's part of the tourism industry, right? So it's kind of come full circle, and it tells this story of a microcosm of what's been going on in Wilmington's commercial history. So.
I think that built history is so often a cultural touchstone, and what I found impressive about this was that, we don't talk as much about industrial and manufacturing, but obviously it was so key to our city and even the place where it is, even that, the choice to have it there. In my mind, this is a no-brainer, and I also would want to thank you for all of the work that you personally have done. I know this is not your full-time job, and you're a new papa, so, a really, like, nicely done application, and just really, in my mind, really a gift for our city also. So.
Yeah, thank you.
Good.
If there's anyone in attendance who'd like to speak in favor or against, I see none. Commissioner deliberation, any additional comments on this, or would someone like to make a motion?
Make a motion. I move to conditionally approve the request to include the study list for local landmark designation, the property located at 201 South Water Street, formerly the Wilmington Ironworks Machine Shop Building.
Second.
Aye.
Favor? Aye. Any opposed? That passes unanimously. And I guess the congratulations on the new parenthood, but also I saw in the Historic Wilmington Foundation newsletter today that you were just awarded a plaque for your home, so congratulations on that too. Any items from the commission? In conclusion, items from staff?
No, sir.
Good, okay. Someone to make a motion that we adjourn this meeting?
Second.
To adjourn? Yeah.
There's a second, all in favor, say aye. Aye. That again passes unanimously. Every single thing passed unanimously. It's amazing. No gavel. Thank you.
No, you didn't have to.